Miami's cruise port, for a port of call, is more than the beach. It's overloaded with rich history, art, and fabulous food. We were hungry to start, but had one barrier to overcome. Okay, maybe two. But there's much to learn from our brief day here. So we'll give you both the usual port basics and our dive into some very cool and unique spots you may not have heard of. I'm Troy, and this is the Port Lowdown. In our last Miami embarkation video, here's a link, we give you the basic layout of the port area. Yeah, it's kinda big, over a mile long, with 11 terminals spread across Dodge Island by a connecting road. And regardless if you're heading for South Beach, taking to the Everglades, or hanging in Little Havana, you gotta cross that, the Port Boulevard Bridge, which takes you to the base of downtown and everything else. The only other way out is the Port Miami Tunnel, which is a highway with no sidewalks. And since this is a major port, there's no passenger ferries from the Dodge Island terminals across Biscayne Bay. But wouldn't it be nice if there were? Instead, the bridge is your first barrier, particularly if you're going DIY. There is a sidewalk, and yeah, we notice people walking over it. It's over 1,000 feet long with no shade. Typically, it's a 20-minute walk from the beginning of the sidewalk to the Bayside Marketplace. But the port area is so spread out, and your docking location potentially so far, that this might be a hard no. Short of that, your escape choices are drive across with a taxi or rideshare, or take the free trolley across. Now, before you all start raising your hands for the trolley, compare both, as it's not as easy as it sounds. But first, you need to get out of the terminal. Every terminal has their own distinctive design, as they're often created for individual lines, like Virgin or MSC. But of course, terminals have the same essentials: seating, bathrooms, and staff to guide you. But take this to heart. Since we learned this the hard way, make note of your terminal letter. We were with Royal Caribbean and didn't pay attention that we were not docked at the official RC terminal. We had a driver who were the only ship in port in the evening, and their ship was right there, but he went right back to Terminal A because that was where the Royal Caribbean terminal was, but there's no ship there. So we had to slowly backtrack and get to the terminal, and we almost didn't make the ship. Point is, you may not dock at your terminal, as you might get reassigned by the Port Authority. So keep that terminal letter ready for a return back. Stepping out, you have the usual tour bus meetups outside. Also, the usual taxi and rideshare pickup areas. Taxis at the front curb as you exit, and private pickup and rideshare across the street to the median. But while the physical layout is straightforward, the different pricing structures for taxi versus rideshare a little less so. Here's what you need to know. Taxis pay a port surcharge of $2. They also charge a minimum of $15, making it a $17 cab ride even if you just cross the bridge. They're also on the meter, and if you have a large group, will charge much more for a van. Rideshares also pay a port surcharge, but they range from $2 to $5, but give you a flat rate. But if you're leaving when everyone else is, there's price surging to consider, especially on massively busy port days where you see lots of other ships docked. Have both Lyft and Uber apps available on your phone, compare pricing. The taxi actually might be cheaper than rideshare if it's super busy. Just saying. Which leaves us with the trolley. The Miami trolley system has various routes across the city for free. Pretty cool. The trolley that works the port area, where there are 5 stops, and goes over the bridge is the Coral Way route. We walked out of our Terminal D and expected to see this handy sign somewhere. Nope. Okay, first impressions, signage is a very, very basic. We're trying to find a trolley, but there's no sign or map anywhere telling you where it is, so the security guy at the crosswalk told us where to go, so we're heading in the right direction. We walked out and turned right, following this to the end, then crossing this median. We found it here, which was kind of nondescript. Oh, there it is. It's hiding discreetly behind this other. So the trick with this is to find the stop. Add to this, current construction may have moved or eliminated some stops. The most frequent advice is to ask staff where the closest stop is. Also, download the Miami Trolley app, which shows movements of the cars in real time. Now, once on the trolley, which is cute by the way, it's a 5-minute drive to the drop-off point, 6th Street. It's on the same block as the Freedom Tower, so it makes a good landmark. We recommend getting off here. In the general area, within walking distance, is the Bayside Marketplace, Bayfront Park, and the foot of downtown. Now, Miami has a wide variety of free transport options, from the trolley to the Metro Mover. The Metro Mover is a free elevated rail system with a nearby Omni Loop route takes you through the financial district. The trouble is, though, those various systems often require transfers, wait times, and some study to get a handle on the tangle of lines and routes. It can be pretty confusing, frankly. So for us, getting over the bridge was enough. It was time to call the rideshare. For time and savings convenience, it's still hard to beat, especially since our first point of interest would have been time-consuming to reach via free transport anyway: the historic Black Police Precinct Courthouse and Museum in Overtown. This building was the first dedicated Black Police Precinct and courthouse in America. Not only is this place historically important, it comes with a guided tour. Here, we were shown around by this gentleman, Errol Stewart, a former officer with direct ties to the station's history.
This was a building that the blacks utilized during segregation and Jim Crow era. So once the officers got hired and made it through the training, they could only arrest blacks only. They couldn't arrest whites. They rode bicycles, they didn't have cars. That was their transportation. All the arrests are processed here, and later on we go up to the courthouse. It's upstairs.
Oh.
It's all in one. Everything get done right here.
But the museum isn't just about overcoming barriers. It's about celebrating achievements. This was a unique and amazing experience. Where else are you going to get a direct one-on-one with someone who experienced it? This is a must-see for anyone interested in history and inspiring stories of sacrifice and achievement. We kept out a lot of the great stories he told. You'll just have to experience it yourself. Now, we got the Uber here to shift gears into the world of art. The city is a museum collective. Regional art museums, history museums, two sex museums, an ice cream museum, and an Art Deco museum, among a ton of others. For culture vultures, it's a binge city. And this area, the Wynwood Art District, is the hipster wild side. The neighborhood's evolution began in 2009, who aimed to use the windowless warehouse walls as canvases for world-renowned street artists. Today, the area is a high-energy enclave of massive murals, boutiques, artsy coffee shops, and trendy restaurants. The big draw here is the Wynwood Walls Art Museum. It's a ticketed, enclosed campus. Here are the prices as of recording. I didn't have time to go in, but I did peer over the hedge facing the street. But I wasn't too disappointed. The whole area is an art gallery. While the walls host about 40 curated murals, the surrounding streets have over 200. Seriously, this is my kind of fun. Skulking around, discovering yet another wild piece of art in an alley or storefront. They even have, naturally, a museum of graffiti, which was closed when I was there. And this was interesting, the Gary Nader Gallery. Want to experience the hushed world of an art collector for free? Come on in to this first floor gallery. Everything on this floor is for sale. Also, but it's also a free public gallery, so it's kind of an opportunity to see another part of the art world. For example, this set behind me are Picasso's, ceramics painted and designed by Picasso, and you buy them as a set. I don't think I've ever been in like a really formal gallery like that. We know it's for sale, but the prices are not there, so I really shouldn't ask. They also specialize in highlighting the work of Colombian master Fernando Botero, featuring over 100 of his signature voluminous paintings and sculptures. There's usually a second floor, but it's closed today because they're setting up for a celebration next week. It feels like a rarefied atmosphere. It's a pretty cool space to check out. The whole area vibe is high class, rough chic, and exclusive enclave. This may actually be a comfort zone stretch for some, but it is, in our opinion, worth the effort. Now, navigating out of this port was surprisingly tricky, so we figured, why not create a tool to make port day navigation quick and easy? So we created our Essential Port Guide PDF, a condensed cheat sheet with all the essentials like clean bathrooms and sidewalk conditions. Plus, there's a Google Map link to help guide you to those pesky tramp stops. So, you don't have to waste time and energy searching on foot like we did. All in a compact package with specially designed color-coded routes. Check out our link in the description or visit our store at portlowdown.com. Now, from the Arts District, we changed gears yet again into Cuban history and food. First up, we wanted some history to give us context for our Little Havana visit, so we first stopped here just south of Little Havana along Coral Way, the American Museum of the Cuban Diaspora. It's a free museum ostensibly telling the story of the Cuban-American immigrant experience to Miami and beyond. But its main story is Fidel Castro, his takeover, the harsh and sometimes graphically depicted rule, and the reports of people who survived and escaped. This is the Cuban community's story, one proud of overcoming hardships and thriving. It's also small but quite dense with information. We spent a solid 2 hours here, and it was at once overwhelming and humbling. No regrets. This place presents an important perspective to remember when exploring the city's Cuban attractions. The area immediately outside the museum, down Coral Way, has loads of terrific cafes and restaurants. Now, we asked the front desk at the museum where was a good Cuban restaurant to try. Behind us, a Cuban gentleman and his son overheard us and recommended a spot in Little Havana. Not only that, they offered to give us a lift there and save us the Uber charge. One of our first encounters with the Cuban community was certainly a great one. What an awesome way to start exploring 8th Street, or locally known as Calle Ocho. Dense with people and your fellow tourists, the main draw are the upteen nightclubs and restaurants. Just for a stroll, it's almost a required experience. And live music rumbles from many of these restaurants. Our new friend recommended this place, Old's Havana Cuban Bar and Cotina. How could we say no?
So this is today's soup, which is a white bean. He's not very clear about white bean with what. Usually white bean is cooked with ham, so let's see. Very nice and smooth. The seasoning is perfect, not too salty, not too sweet. It's great. It really is nice. You see tomatoes pieces, the ham pieces too, and a lot of the beans, the white beans. So, I like the soup. So this is chorizo with pig cheese. Chorizo a little bit dry, but I think that's the way it's supposed to be. But the pig cheese is really nice, really good. So let's try this. It's a chicken. Sorry, pork.
Pork.
Nice pork. It's moist actually, even though I know it doesn't look like it, but it's pretty moist. The onion is actually a kind of sour, so it's actually a pickle. This looks like an arepa. Squeeze a little bit lime on it.
We were stuffed, but how can we say no to Cuban ice cream for dessert across the street? Azucar. Where else are you going to get that? Come on, stomach, you have a little more room. Miami is too rich and varied a place to experience in one day, or even 2 or 3. While we missed South Beach, and it's definitely on my wish list next time, we got a full day's worth of awesome. So we can't wait for the next time. Now, if you got good value from this video, click on that like button and share with your shipmates. And keep those comments and questions coming. We love hearing from you. See you on the next cruise.